Hello, Mr. Novak here, and a session on compass bearings. This will need when we investigate the next lesson on navigation. So there are basically three types. There are three types of bearings um, that we can specify for direction. By the way, these are directions, not angles. Directions. And the three are standard compass bearings, standard. There are basically 16 of them, but we'll only do 8. Then there's compass bearings so that they can do any angle, any direction. Then a slight variation, much easier to write, and that's what's called true bearing. So let's start with this first one. This is what we call a compass rose. Okay, I'll that one anyway. And this is where we can, for instance, easily show you the 16. I'll only show you the 8. So we have north and south. They are the two major ones. Okay, most things are specified with respect to north and south. Then we're going to know whether we're going in the east or west. With standard bearings, we will also look at the ones in between, and that's obviously halfway between north and east. We call that northeast. Always start with the north first. This one on this other side, if you're going in the other direction, that'll be northwest. Similarly, over down here, we'll have starting with south, south in the east direction, and south in the west direction. As you know, this is obviously 0 degrees. Down here, it's 180. We have 90 over here and 270. So these are obviously 45 degrees apart, because these are all right angles. They're all 45 degrees apart. They'll become very important when we're looking for angles rather than direction, which means obviously north happens at 45 degrees starting at north. This is at 135 degrees, 215 degrees, and 225 degrees, and 315 degrees. So they're the 8 of them. In between would be something like north of northeast, and they are 22.5, but we're not going to worry about those. While we're on these, so these are known as the standard bearings. Bearings, remember the four major one, north, south, east, and west. Then the next four minor ones are the north, east, northwest, southeast, southwest. And remember, we have those key values. Now, while we're here, we might as well talk about how you do a problem. So let's say we say that on a journey from B to A on a bearing of northeast. Okay, the key words are from. So where are we starting from? We're starting from the point B. So what we do is we draw a compass rose, a simple one. There's a nice simple one. And of course, we're focusing on northeast. So we have the north quite well specified here and the east. And the starting from is at this point here. We're starting from, in this case, B. And we're heading to a place called A, to A, on a bearing of northeast. Now, of course, northeast is halfway. So we're on this bit direction here. We might say that A is here. So there we show the arrow to indicate where we start and where we're finishing and the direction. That's northeast. Right, let's move on to the compass bearing. What if we want to go in between? Well, for that we use the compass bearings. Um, And so with compass bearings, we're looking at any direction. So all directions are available to us. Now, when we specify a compass bearing, it has basically an example that would be which of those we start from, how many degrees do we turn, and which direction do we turn. Repeat, we either start at south or north, how many degrees, and which direction, east or west. So that's the first thing where start north or south, how many degrees, turn, how many degrees, yeah, I'll call it degrees, turn. We're actually turning, and then whether it's east or west. So here we have our compass rose, nice and simple. If I was to specify something like north 40 degrees west, starting at north, I'm now going to turn towards the west, turning towards the west. So, and I'm going from north. I'm going to go in that direction for 40 degrees, and that is north 40 degrees west. If I specify south 10 degrees east, so starting at south, I'm going in that direction towards east. So we turn through 100, no, just a 10 degrees, just a 10 degrees. So that's the direction south, 10 degrees east. So I ask you, if I was to draw something like this one here, and I say that that's 10 degrees, can you tell me what's the bearing? Remember, we start north or south, Which way are we heading towards? So we're starting at north and we're heading towards east. But don't make the mistake of using the 10 degrees. We need to work out how far we turn to get there from north. And obviously, that must be 80 degrees. Do one more. Let's see if I've got this one here. And I've got 40 degrees here. You know that this is 50 degrees. So we have a right angle. They might be useful in a problem. But remember to specify the direction starting at the center of the rose. We start at south, head 40 degrees in the direction of west. That's compass rose. And the final one, and I suppose the simplest one is called true bearings. Okay? And true bearings are, as I say, a very easy way to specify because they always start at north, always go in a clockwise direction, and anywhere between 0 to 360 degrees. And so that we know that we're talking at bearing, we might specify that's 180 degrees, and we'll put a T on the end there. That's for true bearings. Sometimes you'll have some options like anything less than 100. You might have that as a true bearing. Remember, the 0 doesn't make any sense, but that's how we show. So you could either have 90 degrees T, or if you put a 0 in front, which makes no sense, we're indicating that it's true bearing. So if I want, say, for instance, let's say this is a total of 110 degrees, then this would be 110 degrees T, starting at the center of the compass rose. Let's do it in nice red. And heading out, that's 110 degrees T. So let's do this one here. if I tell you this is 20 degrees, the quickest way is obviously, if we know the west is 270 and we take 20 off, this must be 250 degrees. T, in other words, we have 90, 180. Obviously, this must be 70. 180 plus 70 is equal to 250. Just do one more. 315 degrees T. 315 degrees T. It's easier to go backwards. So remember, this is 360. So 315 is somewhere there, 45 degrees off. That's 315 degrees T. All right, I'll keep it at that. There's a worksheet for you to just practice recognizing the directions. No problems as yet. That will be the next lesson. So hopefully that's good